Bricks here. I hope you are well. I want to speak on the human body. I told you I wanted to talk on this subject. This is the one I'm probably the most passionate about. Have done more research than people ever know. And it's why sometimes I get frustrated with people is when they don't understand it, so they take the easy road out. Even when I tell them and explain it to them, this is what is going on. This is what you need to do. They don't like that because it's not an overnight thing. Unlike a pill, which I pop, which doesn't fix anything. Okay. That's what you have to understand. It doesn't fix anything. It masks everything. And we could talk about statins. We can talk about other pills out there that people take, for diabetes and things like that. They're not fixing the root cause of the problem. You could say, I do everything right, Dave, when it comes to statins. I eat right. I exercise. I do everything better than everybody else, and I still have high cholesterol. Well, then that's not the issue. The issue is diving deeper than that superficial part. Yes, eating right, exercising, they're key. You did the low-hanging fruit stuff to try to minimize and correct a problem that your body is going under, right? But there could be something deeper. Maybe your body can't process certain things. Maybe it can't metabolize something. Maybe you're different than the guy next to you, which you probably are. That's why I always talk to people about getting a DNA test done. People don't want to do it. They don't want to spend the money. So they rather just pop a pill and live, pill to pill. And hopefully that will help them get by. And I know this will irritate people. And I know people are going to come back at me and yell at me and say, statins work, statins do. I didn't say they're not going to bring cholesterol down. I never said that. I'm just saying there is a natural way to do it. I'm not saying it's an easy way, but there's a natural way to everything the human body goes through. But you have to dive into yourself. See, I truly believe, and this is what was revealed to me 6 years ago, the Holy Spirit lives in you. Okay, now people have known this. People say it, they don't truly believe it because they don't really truly understand it. The abuse that we give our bodies, okay, the abuse that we give it every single day, you would not do that if you knew how the Holy Spirit lived in you. Okay. And I'm the first one to admit I did many, many things wrong. I destroyed my body, destroyed it. I used to be able to lift as heavy as possible, right? 600 some pounds on the squats, 700 on the deadlift, all this stuff. For what? For what? People know some of my story. I couldn't walk. I couldn't get in and out of cars. 2 to 4 minutes on average to get in and out of a freaking car at age 40 something, mid 40s. Yep. Hell, everybody told you, lift as heavy as you possibly can, get as big as you possibly can. That's what really worries me about a lot of these young kids. They have no clue what their body's going to reject and how it is, because that's not how humans were designed. And all these trainers out there that think that's okay and keep pushing that bull crap, you're part of the problem. Human beings were meant to be extremely strong, athletic, twitchy. Okay? Simple. Why? Because we're predatory animals. We were supposed to hunt for our food, gather, be able to survive off the land that God had provided for us. Not live in comfort, go to a climate control facility and lift all this weight. That's not how it was. Strong, but not huge. There's a difference. I've known some guys that I used to see in the gym work out. They weren't overly huge, but they were strong as oxes, dude. Then I've seen some massive dudes, weren't nearly as strong, and then all of a sudden start having all these problems, pain in their knees, their backs, and things like that, because the body wasn't designed like that. Now, you could say whatever you want. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. We could debate these things. You're not looking at the structure of the human body. And the human body was made by God. It's made in his image, right? If it's made in his image, that means it was made a certain way, not a way that man wants to corrupt and think it's made, popping pills all the time. We got to get surgery for everything. Am I against all that? Not at all. I think surgery is sometimes necessary. If I fall on something, I cut myself, I break a bone, I do those things. I need something to help take care of me. And I've always said this. The American healthcare system, when it comes to acute problems, is phenomenal. When it comes to chronic problems, it is absolutely atrocious. It doesn't understand it. But people don't want to figure these things out because why? They take time. Just like I mentioned earlier with the statins. I'm not saying you doing everything right by eating and working out and stuff is going to correct it 100%. But if that doesn't correct it, start diving deeper into why. What are you not absorbing? So, myself, when it comes to certain things, because of the DNA test that I got done to figure out certain things, I know I'm at higher risk for cardiovascular issues. I know I'm at higher risk for dementia. I know methylfolate, all right, which is one of the detox things. You can go in and talk about, and look all this stuff up. Certain types of methylfolate I cannot take. It does not help me at all because of the gene I have. If I would have kept going down that route, guess what? Stuff eating right, the stuff I'm supposed to eat, um, if that, taking supplements, none of that would have affected me. I had to take a different supplement because of what was wrong. Now, doctors aren't going to know that, and nor should they. They don't know everybody's DNA unless you did the studying, unless you did the work and go to talk to somebody who understands that. That's what I took the course for. So I could understand, not just got my DNA test done and try to figure it out with the answers they gave me. I wanted to figure out why and then dive deeper into it to make myself feel better, to live as long as God needs me to live, not disease filled, all beat up, all, battered because I didn't take care of myself. That is the human body. The human body understands how we take care of it. I've said this for at least 20 years. The human body knows one thing. Okay, actually, I should say two now. It knows God because of the Holy Spirit living inside you. It knows God, okay, Yahweh, and it knows how to survive. Plain and simple. Off of survival, it does two things. Learn these things, and I wish people would learn them and actually understand them, not just listen to me and say, "Okay, Dave, that's great." No, dive into them. It knows two things. It knows how to adapt to a certain climate, to certain situations that you're in, and it knows how to heal. Heals correctly or heals incorrectly, depending on the input that you give it. If I give a wrong input, it's going to heal incorrectly. It'll heal. It's healing all the time. My body's sitting here, it's healing. It's healing. It's cleaning out certain things and it's getting stronger. I fast, it heals. I work out, I take a recovery, it heals. It heals. But if I do things wrong, if I move wrong, if I sit wrong, if I breathe wrong, if I do all these things, these all affect how my body recovers. Now, people are like, oh my gosh, I can't do all this stuff. You're right. You start in one place and then you work from there, like I had to. Okay. Now, if you think of it in science, you're going to fail. I'm sorry, you're going to fail. Does science have some role to play? No question it does. But it's not the end all be all that we have to go to all these people to think we have to cure it. Your curing is inside if you learn how to heal it correctly. If you don't, then you need interventions, interventions that might actually harm you on the other end. You can't tell me that taking a statin is not going to cause other problems. You might fix one, but what are the other problems? Your body doesn't understand unnatural substances. It goes back to a thing when I was working in physical therapy. There was a lady who came in for wound care. She was getting better, all this. Then all of a sudden, she came back in for an next appointment. She was in extreme pain on her side. We also noticed something coming out of where the wound was, right? It's about 3 weeks, I think, later. So we're looking like that. What is this? You know? So we're not doctors. We're not going to perform anything. So we referred her, told her to go to ER. She went to the ER. They cut her open. Here, gauze was left in her from the surgery that she had. What was the human body doing? It was pushing out the foreign object. It was getting rid of it. So it's pushing it back out where the surgery was, where this incision was, right? Here's another case. Had another lady come to me and she had surgery on her knee. And, I just, I hear horror stories nowadays more so than ever before, than 20, 25 years ago, about going in the doctor's office and get surgery and stuff, and how many people come back with infections. Everybody's now infected. I understand we're supposed to have all these sanitary things in place, and yet people are always coming back with infections. So I don't know what's going on. But she went in, she started to have some oozing out of her leg. So she went back in, they cleaned it a couple times, did all this stuff to it, closed it up, oh, I cleaned it up real good. I did 8 flushes of it or whatever the heck you do. I don't even know what the heck this stuff's called anymore. And about 2 weeks later, her knee blew up. I mean, it was huge, absolutely huge. A couple of the doctors blew it off as nothing, like, hey, it's just normal. Too much pain. She went back the next day here. It was completely infected. They had trapped the infection in the wound. That was the body's response to something is wrong. Neither one of those persons did anything. It was the human's body natural response of what to do. So the body knows how to heal. It's whether we're treating it correctly to make sure it heals on the path that it's supposed to. Now, you don't have to agree with me. You can listen to your doctor that went to school for 8 years. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Maybe even longer. I don't know. I'm telling you what works. I'm telling you when people come in, they say, hey, my back hurts. I was told I need surgery. Do you really need surgery? And then we figure a couple things out. There was weakness here. There was a tightness there. We strengthened this. We released this. Boom. And guess what happens? Oh, I don't have pain anymore. Another example, I had a lady come in. I have back pain. Cool. Let me see her walk. She walks. I'm like, did you have a problem with your right ankle? She's like, no. I said, now you got to think back. Now she's in her close to 60. Think back. Did you ever sprain it? She goes, well, yeah. When I was like 17 years old, I sprained it real bad. So we did a test on her ankle to see if there was mobility there and stuff like that. Just what we thought. There was a weakness and it wasn't mobile enough. We fixed the mobility, fixed the strength, back pain gone. But didn't have anything to do with the back. That's what I'm saying. The human body does not function the way we think it does. Now, granted, if I have back pain, I'm going to check the back first. I'm not an idiot. If I have knee pain, I'm going to check that. But I'm going to quickly see if there's something else causing the problem because the whole human body is connected. And that's what I love about how God made us. God made us this incredible way that He connected everything. And everything has to work off of each other. So when things starts to break down, that's when the human body starts to fall apart. People won't realize this, but that's when it does. Had another example of a gentleman who came in who, when he was 8 years old, destroyed his leg, broke it, snapped it all in half, all this kind of stuff. So he's put in a brace, all this kind of stuff. Never therapy back then. I mean, I guess this was in the 80s, not a lot of therapy around. Never got. He's 8 years old. Just went back running, doing all this stuff. Well, guess what? 30, 40 years later, guess what? All of a sudden was all jacked up. His back. Why? Because he had compromised. His hips were thrown off. 10 years later, the hip started bothering him. He didn't do nothing about that. The knee bothered him. The back went out. Then he needed all kind of back surgeries. Had all kind of problems walking. This is how the body works. The body functions and heals with the inputs that we give it. So when we give them wrong inputs, the body has a hard time healing correctly, has a hard time doing a lot of things. It will heal, but has a hard time. Now let's go to the adaptation process. We become adaptive individuals, okay? We know this. If I live up in Maine, okay, and I decide to move to Florida all of a sudden, my first couple years in Florida might really suck, especially in the summer, as hot as it gets, okay, with that humidity and things like that. Now, the winter, I'm probably fine down there because it's probably beautiful. Over time, then my body will adapt and I'll move on. Same thing with somebody in Florida come up to Maine. They might hate it, but their body adapts. They can get by. And I know people say, well, no, it's not. That's more mental than physical. Your body adapted already, but it's a mental thing. Because I know guys that live in Florida have moved up to the Northeast and they're like, man, I hate the winters up here. Well, that's a mental thing. Your body's already adapted or you would have died. Okay. So our bodies naturally adapt. But the problem is, are they adapting correctly? So there were no gyms, no climate controlled facilities back when the Lord made us. Okay. Our work was what I did with the land, how I cultivated the land, how I had to move rock, move stone, whatever, build my house, grow my food, hunt for my animals, do whatever I needed to do. Right. That was our gym. That was our workout. That's how God designed us, however long it took us per day. Okay. If you look at farming, maybe not so much modern farming with all this, equipment nowadays, but go maybe look at the Amish. I live in Amish country, close to it. You see them out on their horses and stuff like that, pulling. They work extremely hard. Okay. Anywhere between 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 hours probably, sometimes in the summer, right? You have cows, you got to get up at 4 o'clock and milk them. Okay. You have to. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's 4 degrees outside or it's 100. You still got to get the job done because the animal doesn't care. What happens to most human beings, though? Most human beings aren't doing that. We're running to the grocery store, we're picking up our food, and that's how we live. So life has become easier. Okay. It's become more comfortable. So our bodies have adapted to this comfort. It doesn't mean it changes inside, though, what's going on. That's the issue. This is where people have messed this up. It is adapted to our a lazy, sedentary lifestyle, but it doesn't mean that's how it works. So the body is now fighting something. It's like, this is not me. This is not how a human being is ever made. So guess what? I don't know what to do. So it starts to break down. And then we wonder why our bodies are failing us at such younger ages. We have more cancer than ever before. And I think there's many reasons for that. And I'll get into that maybe in another thing and stuff that will very irritate probably most people out there. We have more autoimmune disease, even though I'm not a big thing that your body attacks itself. I just don't understand how that actually functions because if I say your body wants to survive, how is it attacking yourself? I think there's something else going on. But there's a lot of other things that are going on, right? That we're not understanding. And I think a lot of it has to do because of our adaptation process. Now, has modern medicine done a couple good things? Yeah, antibiotics. I'm not a huge fan of them. I understand why they're there, and I truly believe that they do help people out, right? Our sanitary conditions better, 100%. If you go back to the early 1900s, or even 1800s, sanitary conditions in cities were horrible. You had horses walking around, they're pooping everywhere. You got feces and that kind of stuff. Bad, not good because it's not being drained back into the soil. Like if I live out in the farm or in a rural area where that's where that stuff is supposed to go replenish the earth. So these things keep going on, but we're not changing, right? We're not getting back to how God made us. We're trying to make an AI version of us or a robot version of us that has no function whatsoever and so totally opposite of how God is. I really do believe that that's where we're headed. And the more parents continue to allow their kids just to sit inside and do nothing and only go out when they play their organized sport, which is the dumbest thing ever. Okay. They should be outside all the time, free playing. And adults, you should do a lot of it too. Okay. Coming up with different things, picking up logs. You see a branch there doing some pull ups, stuff like that, push ups, all that stuff. That's how the human body was meant to go. We're going to head down some of the worst paths you ever seen. And I think we're seeing it now. The rise of, autism, the rise of all these diseases with these young kids. And we can blame it on, well, I don't know why autism's such on the rise. Well, let's look at all the stuff that we're injecting into ourselves. Let's look at all the stuff that we're taking in with all the chemicals. Let's look at all this stuff. Could this be playing a role in it? All this foreign stuff that the body's never had to deal with now is now being inundated with all this stuff, right? EMS, you can believe it or not, there's a book called The Invisible Rainbow. Phenomenal book. It talks about this stuff. Now you can believe it, like I said, or don't believe it. I don't care. It's up to you. I don't. I'm changing, and I feel better because I changed. I was going down the path of that. Minor conveniences were killing me. Yes, I could lift all that weight in the gym, but climate controlled facilities are just soft to me. They're soft. My gym is not climate controlled. You can ask anybody who comes in here. There's no air, and in the winter, there's not a lot of heat. I only keep it on just so my pipes don't freeze. People work out and they work hard. Okay. But I'm trying to mimic what God intended us to do. Now, you don't have to go with this route. You can go the route you want. I'm cool with that. I don't have any problem with that. But I'm telling you how the human body is functioning and why we're seeing more disease and more things than ever. So, our soil, our soil's trash. Okay. Even if you grow your own food, it's better. Okay. And I'm saying that's what everybody should do. But our soil is trashed. So, I was reading some stuff where one apple in the 1980s or 1970s that I would eat an apple. It now takes about 3 to 4 to get the same nutritional value because of the soil. There's a problem going on. All right. So I understand why people, have a hard time and why some people are probably still hungry, even after eating an apple. Where back in the day, you probably felt full to some extent because guess what? My body was getting all the nutrients. Well, I'm only getting like partial nutrients. My body's like, nah, I need some more. Go get me more. So eat another apple, eat another apple, eat another apple. You know what I mean? So heaven, you have now 3 apples and you're eating all this other stuff because your body's constantly starving because it's not getting the nutritional value. Then the processed food industry and all the other crap that's being put out there and all the chemicals that are in the air. Our bodies are being inundated and it's destroying the human body. Are there ways to fight back? Yes. Is it hard? Yes. Is it easy? No. And unfortunately, everybody wants a quick fix. And that's why we run to surgery and run to pills. Like I said, I'm not against them. So everybody stop. You send me all these comments all the time. I'm not against certain. things. But you always want to take the easy route, is what I'm saying. I'm telling you this, and this is just me. I'm not saying to do this. I'm just saying. So I had in here 2 months ago a stake go through me. The stake was in the ground. Okay. It had popped out and was sticking straight up. It was a metal stake. I put my hand down. Okay. Because I slipped and I fell and it went straight through. A rusted stake went into my hand. I had to grab it and take it out. Now, 99.9% of you said you need to go see the doctor and get a tetanus shot or you will die of tetanus. Okay. I did. I'm not saying do this. I'm just giving you how the human body heals. I took it squeezed till blood came out. When the blood came out, I wiped it, squeezed it, some more blood started coming out. Okay. Not oozing out like crazy, just a little bit. I then washed it extremely clean, very, very clean. I then put Manuka honey on it. The next day, the hand was swollen. Okay. It was stiff. I started doing push-ups, stuff like that. It was tough at first, but after going about two to 300 of them that I did, the hand loosened up. From that point on, never had an issue with the hand. Never. Still this second, no issue. Didn't get a shot, didn't get anything else. Am I telling everybody to do that? No. I think you need to start thinking for yourselves and thinking, how does this work? Why? Why, if I had a tetanus shot 5 years ago, am I running to the doctor to get another one just because I fell on something? It happened to me. And this is when it made me start to think back when I was in my 20s. I had a tetanus shot, got my first one in my late 20s or teens or whatever it was. Okay. Not knowing any difference. I did something. I stepped on a nail when I was 25 or 26, right? So it was in the window of the 10-year window that they say, right? They still shot me up with another tetanus shot. And I thought to myself, I'm like, why? You said they're good for 10 years. Why do I need, well, we got to make sure, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Me not really thinking, diving deep, just agreeing that's what happened. Fast forward 20, 30 years later, I started doing my own research, started educating myself, and figured out this was the best way for me. Okay. When you really look into tetanus, you do your own research. I'm not going to tell you all the stuff, but you can look it up. How many people actually get tetanus a year? How long they actually shot. One shot should actually last a lifetime, not just 10 years, but a lifetime and things like that. But you have to dive deep into it. You have to actually look and dive deep. This is what I talk about with the human body. And I want to do more series on this because I think it's so, so important. But I want your feedback. This thing is the gift from the Holy Spirit, from the Lord. Okay. The Holy Spirit lives inside of us if you allow it. Okay. It's there. You got to unleash it, but you got to believe and then you got to trust. Like I said, should you not go to the doctor? No, I think that's dumb. Okay. I go to the doctor once a year, get checked, blood work done so I can see what I need to work on, need to see what I need to fix. And he and I have a discussion on things. Hey, we want to do this, want to do that. Nah, doc, I'm good. I want to monitor this. Let's look at this first. Let's do this. And I cross-examine with my DNA. Okay, I do because I got my DNA. I studied it. I learned from somebody, right, who had more knowledge than me at the time to teach me how to read DNA and actually how to understand it with people. And then I also did stuff with my gut, did a gut test to see that so I could cross-examine with my DNA. And guess what? All of a sudden things start to fall into place. Now my gut doesn't kill me anymore. I know what supplements I can take because of my DNA that are going to actually benefit me. But this was done on my own. When people ask me for all this advice and they want free stuff and they free everything, guys, I've taken so much time out of my day. You pay your doctors, you pay your therapist, you pay everybody. Gobs amount of money. Now, granted, your copay might be 40 or $50 every visit, and your insurance picks up the rest. But I dive deep into every single thing I do. And I'm not trying to say, hey, I need to be paid for everything I do, because that's not right. Okay. And I don't mind helping people out. But there has to be a reimbursement when it comes to certain things. And that's a reimbursement not only to the person helping you, but to yourself. You have to reimburse yourself. You have to reimburse yourself of doing the right thing, helping yourself out, making sure you're on the right path. Wouldn't you want to know if you're at higher risk for dementia, especially if you're in your 40s and 50s, and you could help your family out? I can't tell you how many people I talk to that Their parents have Alzheimer's. They don't know who they are. They forget things all the time. They have all these issues. Imagine if you go back and actually start to change things earlier on. Now, I think we made incredible advance with autism, and I've taken a course on that. And that's why I'm so passionate about autism because I'm tired of seeing people with dementia going down a bad slippery slope and not knowing. We don't need to. So there's a lot of things I want to dive into, guys. But what I'm saying is the human body is a much deeper thing than what the medical society will tell you. They look at it one way, and that's through science. And I'm not against science, but it's deeper than that. And if you're not understanding faith when it comes to this part, you're misinterpreting how we're made. And if you continue against the grain of how God made us, then you're going to expect other results, not the results we want. Like I said, being overly huge looks great. Man, I'm really looking at me, man. This guy must have dedication. This guy's incredible. Yes, but is he going against how God designed us? Yes. Sorry. Imagine a massive dude trying to run. Okay. Run. Okay. Back in the day when they didn't train like that, they trained to hunt and gather, right? Put all that mass on you. That's what you have to start thinking. I'm not against being strong because I think weak is a very bad thing. I think a lot of guys out there that have those dad bods, that's not how God wanted us either. I'm sorry. Sorry. He didn't want us weak. He wanted us to be strong-minded, physically strong, spiritually strong. So the dad bod doesn't fly with me being weak. But overly huge, yeah. Strong, agile, mobile, twitchy. That's what we need to do. You train the brain as well. Guys, I'll talk more on this. You guys want to hear different topics? Let me know. I know I think differently. I know a lot of people do not agree with this way, but I'm asking you just to start thinking differently about how the human body is. If you're a Christian and you believe God and you believe He made you, then start thinking, okay, if God made me this way, why am I doing X, Y, and Z that way? Is it going to counteract what God made? And maybe that's my problem of why I'm falling apart. Wisdom. Read the book of Proverbs. I tell people all the time, Proverbs is a great thing on wisdom. How can I gain wisdom? Read the book of Proverbs. Become wiser in your body and your understanding of your soul, of your spirit, and watch what happens. Guys, have yourself a blessed day. God bless you and take care.